All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, we have part 2 of the full OP13 set review. That's right. We did part 1 in yesterday's video, of course, and I will have that linked in the comment section below. Be sure to check that out if you have not already. And today we're getting into part 2. Okay, so part 1 was red, green, and blue, and now part 2 today is going to be purple, black, and yellow cards. All right, so let's go ahead and hop straight into this. I will have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant links and stuff like that in the comment section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link will be in the channel description. Okay, let's do this, guys. Let me fix my camera. Here we go. So first up, we have Amatsuki Toki. This is a 2-cost, 3,000 power, 1k counter, purple, Landawano, Roger Pirates type character with the effect: if your character with a type including Roger Pirates would be KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may trash this character instead. Okay, so we got some anti-KO removal for Roger Pirates cards. We have seen quite a bit of this pop up in OP13 now. I think in red we saw this with Ivankov and even the 6-cost dragon. And then for blue we saw this pop up with Fossa, I believe their name was, for Whitebeard Pirates. And now for purple we see it with Amatsuki Toki, to protect the Roger Pirates cards. Okay, so they're definitely, Bandai's definitely trying to spread the love with the anti-KO removal. And most of this stuff is effects-based, right? If your character with a type including Roger Pirates would be KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may trash this character instead, so it does not protect characters in battle. Okay, good stuff. Let's keep going. Really nice picture on this one, by the way. I really like that. Really nice. Okay, next up we have Inarashi. This is a 3-cost, 3,000 power, 1,000 counter, purple Minx Roger Pirates type character with the effect: on play, if you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. Okay, very solid character here. Now notice it is a 3-cost card, but if you read the on play effect very carefully and consider what it's saying, you can really only play this card out on a 4 Dawn or higher turn, because it says on play if you have any Dawn cards given. Now, let me get this out of the way now, guys, because we're going to see that theme pop up quite a bit within purple and OP13 for the Roger Pirate stuff. What does it mean to have a Dawn card given? I usually just call it attach, like attaching a Dawn card, but in the game of One Piece, for the sake of the rules, we'll call it given for now, okay? That means where you take an active Dawn card from your cost area and you give it to a character or a leader. Notice what it says: if you have any Dawn cards given, so it could be to a character or a leader, right? And then, okay, you'll be able to add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it, then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. So this card is actually very good with ramping, right? It's very good with ramping, but it also has some other, how would you say it? Kind of like, it also has some other potential to it, right? Where you can also remove little chump blockers or, pesky, annoying little 1-cost searchers that you don't want to have to attack into later. So it does actually have some utility even for the late game, because 1-cost blockers, those are a nice way to round out your turn, right? It's like say you're on a 10 Dawn turn, you use 7 or 8 Dawn to attack in and do this and do that, and then with your remaining 2 Dawn, maybe you leave 1 Dawn as active, and you play out a little 1-cost chump blocker. Well, this card says, okay, if you do that, I'm just going to pay 3 and deal with that later in the game. Okay, so really good stuff here. Nice for ramping Dawn early on. And it's also a very generic effect, guys. I think it should be mentioned that this is an extremely generic effect, right? Let me see. If you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Yeah, so it's not looking for, your leader doesn't have to be Minx or Roger Pirates like Inarashi's types here. It can just be any leader. Pretty cool stuff here. And it also does not say KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 1 or less. So who knows, guys, maybe in the future, you might be able to run a card like this in some type of purple-black deck and start reducing the cost of characters and go from there. So I am a big fan of this card. I think it has a lot of potential, but of course for the deck that it's intended for, which is Roger Pirates, this is a really solid card here to play out on your 4 Dawn or higher turn to start ramping Dawn and making it to the late game quicker. Okay, good stuff. Let's keep going. Okay, next up we have Crocus. Crocus is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter, purple Roger Pirates type character with the effect: On play, if you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Okay? And then, when attacking, return up to one of your opponent's characters with a base power of 3,000 or less to your hand, or to the owner's hand, excuse me. So notice how this one goes off of base power, whereas Inarashi went off just cost without, Inarashi did not go off of base cost, but Crocus here does go off of base power. So unfortunately, we won't be able to reduce the power of a character and then, bottom deck something or push something back to the, to the owner's hand, something bigger than 3,000 power, but hey, it's still very powerful. And here we go again, guys. 5 cost, 6k, 1k counter, on play, ramp a Dawn card. That's actually very solid. And for those who might be wondering, remember, guys, we went over the leaders. We went over 4 leaders in yesterday's video in part 1. And remember what Red Purple Roger does. Okay, I probably should have explained this during when we were going over Inarashi. But Roger, after turn 1, and before you have 10 Dawn already on the field, Roger will basically force you to give him a Dawn every single turn. So that's why these cards are worded in this way, so that it is more specifically Roger Pirate support, but it's still designed in a way that other decks can run it as well, which is really cool. Okay, but a solid effect here. I'm not a huge fan of that when attacking in general, the fact that it is locked to base power, but it's still going to be good in the same way that Inarashi is, where you can just clear out the little stuff, any kind of little 3,000 power or lower blocker. You could just bounce it back to their hand, or the searchers. You might not want to push the searchers back to the owner's hand, but I will say, okay, actually, never mind. I was going to say maybe you can push your own cards back to your hand, but you cannot. It says return to one of your opponent's characters with a base power of 3,000 or less to the owner's hand. Still a very solid card. Let's keep going. Okay, next up we have Kazuki Odin. This is a 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter, purple, Land of Wano, Kazuki Clan, Roger Pirates type character, with the effect blocker, and on play, if you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Okay, very solid card here, guys. Same theme, right? You have to have a Dawn card that's given in order to do this on play effect. But man, that is nice, guys. A 5 cost, 6,000 power blocker with a 1k counter. Think about this in terms of Red Purple Roger. Now, don't get me wrong, you can run this card in any deck, right? It's still a 5 cost, 6k, 1,000 power blocker. Just in general, right, which is solid stats, and then you could potentially ramp Dawn by giving a Dawn card. And notice how that's worded. If you have any Dawn cards given, so it could be to a character or a leader, right, and then you can add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. This card here, though, guys, this is really nice, like in terms of like being played in Roger, because remember, before you reach 10 Dawn, you're just a 5,000 power leader. So if you play this out on curve, which will be on your 6th Dawn turn, right, because 1 Dawn will go to your leader, and then you have 5 Dawn to work with for the turn. Okay, well now I'm playing down a 5 cost, 6,000 power blocker, when I'm just a 5,000 power leader at the time, and now I'm ramping a Dawn, going from 6 to 7 Dawn, and then, and then you go from there, of course. But this seems like a really solid card here, a very well-designed card for Roger. One thing I do want to check real quick. So Inarashi adds up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Crocus adds a Dawn card as active. Okay, if you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set as active. And then Odin has it come into play as rested. Okay, that's very interesting. So Inarashi ramps a Dawn card rested, and so does Kazuki Odin. But the Crocus card does allow you to get a Dawn card active, so you could get more pressure for the turn, or leave a Dawn active for your opponent's turn for an event or something like that. So very good stuff there. But this Kazuki Odin, very solid card, 5 cost, 6k, 1k counter blocker, and can ramp Dawn. Really good stuff here. Okay. Next up, we have Goldie Roger. All right, here we go. We got a 10 cost, 13,000 power, purple, King of the Pirates, Roger Pirates type character with the effect, your leader and all of your characters that do not have a type, including Roger Pirates, have their effects negated. Okay, now, we have to talk about that, but let me read the rest of the effects real quick. On play, Dawn -3, your leader gains plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase, then give all of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. So one thing to consider about the way that the effect is worded here, the top part, let's focus on just the top 2 lines here, right? The first sentence. Your leader and all of your characters that do not have a type, including Roger Pirates, have their effects negated. So understand what that means. Whenever it's worded like that, when it's in that syntax of a type including and then whatever it is in quotations, then you can even have cards in there that are former whatever the type is there, or ally of whatever the type is. As long as it has that type there, it could be former Roger Pirates or Roger Pirates ally. As long as any form of this text is in the typing, then you'll be fine. So that should be good for previous cards as well, right? So like the 8 cost secret, what's his name, Silver's Rayleigh. The 8 cost red one should be just fine to run within Red Purple Roger, even if this card is on the board, because he is a former Roger Pirates, and because this is a type including Roger Pirates in quotations, it should be just fine to run in there, which is really nice. Okay, now the on play effect is very powerful. It almost works as a time warp, guys, if you think about it, because if you're playing this card out in Roger, you're on 10 Dawn, so you're a 7,000 power leader, right? So you play this card out, excuse me, you play this card out, and now your leader is a 9,000 power, and all of your opponent's characters just went minus 2,000 power. So your leader is 9,000 power, and all of your opponent's characters are minus 2,000 power. And remember, even though you're going Dawn -3, this negates your leader's effect, okay? Your leader and all of your characters that do not have a type, including Roger Pirates, have their effects negated. So it will turn off your leader's effect, so they're still going to be a 7,000 power leader, even though you're dropping down to 7 Dawn. I believe that's how that works, guys. The wording is a little weird. It says your leader and all of your characters that do not have a type, including Roger Pirates, have their effects negated. It's like if you read that in a certain way, you might think, wait, but my leader does have the Roger Pirates type. But no, what it's trying to say, if I understand correctly, is your leader will have their effects negated, and then all of your characters that do not have a type, including Roger Pirates, have their effects negated, if I'm understanding that correctly. Either way, really solid card here. Playing this card out, you're establishing a 13,000 power body, and you're buffing your entire, you're buffing your leader by 2,000 power. That's a 9,000 power leader, guys, and now your opponent's entire board gets minus 2,000 power. It's going to be very hard for them to deal with you at that point. Really good stuff here. Okay, let's keep going. Wow. Guys, that alt-art is incredible. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the alt-arts, but this one is really, really cool. Akira Igawa always has some good stuff. Okay. Next up, we have Shanks. This is a 1 cost, 2,000 power, 1,000 counter, purple Roger Pirates type character. With the effect, on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 card with a type including Roger Pirates other than Shanks and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, so this is just a 1 cost purple searcher for Roger Pirates. Good stuff here. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but this is a solid card. Of course, most decks want to have a searcher in them to help fix their hand and all that good stuff. Okay. Very cool. They came out with a alt-art for Shanks as well. That's awesome. Looks really good. These both look really good, actually. It almost looks like they were done by the same person. But no, it's actually 2 different artists. We have Studio Vigor for this one, and then we have Bashiku for this one. Not sure how to say that. Really awesome, though. Okay, next up we have Silver's Rayleigh. This is an 8 cost, 9,000 power purple Roger Pirates character with the effect Rush, and on play... Okay, here we go, guys. On play, if you have any Dawn cards given, rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less, then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active at the end of this turn. Okay, so we have another one of those effects where if you have a Dawn card given, do something really awesome. And in this case, guys, the nice thing about Silver's Rayleigh is this is just an 8 cost, 9,000 power rush card, period. Okay, so even if you're playing this out in a deck that's not Roger Pirates, this is just an 8 cost, 9,000 power rusher. It's just solid in that way. And then on play, if you have any Dawn cards given, rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Okay, so you're going to be able to get around the 5 cost or lower cards, like the blockers. And then you're going to add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active at the end of this turn. Okay, so just like with Crocus, this one's getting a Dawn card back as active. Really nice. This is a really solid card here. Just a great rush card to run in any deck. I think my favorite part about this card is that it's an 8 cost, 9,000 power rush card. The on-play effect is really good too, especially for closing out games to get around blockers or just to control the board, right? Rest down 1 of their 5 cost or lower characters, attack into it, and go from there and potentially ramp up some Dawn. Really good stuff here. Big fan of this card. But I have to say, this card might just be good in any purple deck. Now, one thing to mention is this is in the 8-cost slot. Okay, there is a card. There's another 8-cost card within purple called Katakuri that came out. I think it was an OP11 or something like that. I can't remember. It came out in a previous set, though. And it's also 8-cost, 8,000 power, and it's a blocker. It's very, very strong. But who knows? That card's also generic enough to run in any deck, and I think this card is as well. Maybe that ends up becoming the top end for purple for, you know, years to come, right? Because I think Katakuri's in block 3 and this is in block 4. Really good stuff here, though, guys. This is going to be one of those SRs where it's like if you're building anything to do with purple, you're going to have to really consider this card. It might just become a staple. Really, really solid card here. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, next up, okay, we have the alt art for Silver's Rayleigh. This one looks good as well. Hang on, let me see something. Oh, okay. I think I like the alt art better, guys. A lot of times, I really like the standard art, especially the SRs with that silver border. But guys, the way that this one's borderless and the way the composition of this one, really big fan. They both look really good, though. Okay, let's keep going. I can't get too carried away on the art stuff, guys, or this video is going to last forever. Okay, next up we have Scopper Gaben. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power, 1,000 counter, purple Roger Pirates type character with the effect on play if your leader types... Hang on. If your leader's type includes Roger Pirates, draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand, then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Okay. Wow, so a 6-cost, 7,000 power character with a 1k counter, and then if your leader's Roger Pirates, draw 2 cards and trash 1. Now, understand you are going to have to play this out, and you do ramp a Dawn as well, by the way. But you're going to have to play this out on your 7-cost or higher turn, right? Because 1 Dawn's going to be given to your leader within red-purple Roger Pirates, and now, you know, you have the 6 Dawn left to play this out, but that will get you from a 7 Dawn turn, right, into an 8 Dawn turn. And now you're going into a 10 Dawn turn the next turn. You'll still have to give a Dawn to your leader in that situation, but, you know, you're getting to your 10 Dawn turn, and now you're swinging for 7,000 with your leader at least. So probably, I guess, technically 8,000 in that case because you'll have the Dawn attached, or it'll be given at the beginning of the turn. Okay, y'all know what I mean. Either way, really good card here. On play, draw 2, trash 1. We'll take it every time, and you're ramping Dawn. Really solid card here. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, next up we have Douglas Bullet. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1,000 counter, purple, film, former Roger Pirates type character with the effect, if you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, this character gains plus 2,000 power. Okay, on play, if your leader's type includes Roger Pirates, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Okay, very interesting card here. The way that it's designed, I mean, think about it like this, guys. You can only play this out on a 4 Dawn or higher turn within Roger Pirates. So you have 1 Dawn attached to your leader. You play this out for 3. And then if your leader type includes Roger Pirates, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Okay, well, we're going to go from 4 Dawn then to 5, right? And then next turn, we're going to untap and go to 7. So if we have one more way to ramp a Dawn to get to 8 Dawn, we'll be able to swing for 6,000 right away with Douglas Bullet. So that part's pretty good. This is a 1k counter here. This is actually a good card to just play out early on. It has Dawn ramp built in. This is going to be a great filler card, quote unquote, for Roger Pirates, right? Because again, you're playing this out on your 4 Dawn turn, and then you're ramping a Dawn from there. So that's really not too bad at all. Good stuff here. Okay, let's keep going. And the fact that it can get plus 2,000 power just for being on the board, guys, and let me see something real quick. That effect is on your turn and your opponent's turn. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, this character gains plus 2,000 power. So that is actually really nice. It's basically a 3-cost, 6,000 power character once you reach 8 or more Dawn. Okay, good stuff. Let's keep going. All right, next up we have Tom. Okay, 2 cost, 2,000 power, 1k counter, purple, Fishman, Water 7 type character with the effect, on play, Dawn -1, add up to 1 stage card with a cost of 3 or less from your trash to your hand. Okay, well, that's very interesting. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. It is a Water 7 character, so is this some type of iceberg support? Someone help me out in the comment section below if you know what's going on here. Why would the card be in your trash? Maybe they're going to be printing more stage removal coming up soon here. Who knows, guys? But I can tell you this, it's already hard enough to deal with a 3-cost stage. A lot of, like, stage removal in this game is like what we see with Sky Island, where you can hit a 1-cost stage. There's a few other stage removal cards as well, but generally speaking, people don't really run them. There's just not enough reason to run them right now. But whatever the case is, hey, effect on play, Dawn -1, add up to 1 stage card with a cost of 3 or less from your trash to your hand. I guess just in case you discard your Water 7 Galila stage or whatever it's called, you'll be able to bring this back with that. I don't know. Again, you guys tell me what y'all think about this one in the comment section below. I don't really know what this is intended for. Again, it makes me think they're going to start printing more stage removal maybe, and then Tom's going to be able to help mitigate that for your Fishman Water 7 purple decks. I have no idea. All right, let's keep going. Again, y'all help me out in the comment section below on this one. Okay. Next up, we have Napoleon. This is a 5-cost, 7,000 power, 1,000 counter, Homies Big Mom Pirates type character. This is just a vanilla card with no base effect. So good stuff here. Let's keep going. Okay, then we have Neko Mamushi. This is a 3-cost, 3,000 power, 2K counter, purple Minx Roger Pirates type character with the effect on play, if you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 base power or less. Okay, I mean, this is still a nice utility 2K counter to help you get around maybe some little tiny pesky blockers if you're trying to go for lethal, and worst case scenario, it's a 2K counter. So, good stuff here. Not a whole lot to talk about because what you see is what you get. It goes directly off of base power, so you can't even reduce the power of a character and get further value from this card. And you do have to have 8 or more Dawn cards. I guess this is kind of like purple, you know, Roger Pirates version of like Usohachi maybe. Now I think Usohachi's better, don't get me wrong, but I think this is kind of like their version, their utility 3-cost 2K counter. Either way, not bad. We'll take it. It's searchable and all that good stuff within Roger Pirates, and it's a 2K counter, and it has some utility. We'll take it every time. Okay, next card. Okay, we have another 2K counter. We have Buggy. This is a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 2K counter, Roger Pirates type character with the effect on play, if your leader's type includes Roger Pirates and you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Okay, so this is basically your 3 Dawn Dawn ramp. Okay, so remember, within Roger Pirates, you have to attach a Dawn at the beginning of your turn. So with this card here, on your, let's say you're going first, right? So turn 1, maybe you play out a Searcher, and then turn 2, you're up to 3 Dawn. Okay, well, we can't really do much with that, right? Because most Dawn ramp in the game of One Piece is actually 3 Dawn or more. But with this card with Buggy here, it's technically a 2-cost Dawn ramp card. However, it goes off of if your leader has a Dawn already attached. So it is kind of like a clever way for them to include Dawn ramp in Roger Pirates on a 2K counter, a 2-cost utility 2K counter here, while still forcing you to have 3 Dawn on the field. So really good stuff here. Again, within the game of One Piece, guys, some of the cheapest, in fact, I think the cheapest version of Dawn ramp that we see in the game of One Piece is 3 Dawn. So even though this is a 2 Dawn ramp card, you have to have a Dawn given to your leader, so you have to have a minimum of 3 Dawn to pull this off. Okay, good stuff though. Searchable 2K counter for Roger Pirates, and it fixes your Dawn, gets you on the even curve as quickly as possible, as quickly as turn 2 going first. Really good stuff here. Okay, next up, oh man, there was no alt art for Buggy. Man, we saw the alt art for Shanks, for the Searcher, but no alt art for Buggy. What's going on? But next up, we have Prometheus. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 2K counter, Homies Big Mom Pirates type character with no base effect. So this is basically a Big Mom Pirates 5-cost vanilla 2K counter. Good stuff. Let's keep going. Okay, then we get to Hera. Hera is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter, purple Homies Big Mom Pirates type character with the effect on play, play up to 1 Homies type character card with 3,000 power or less from your hand. Okay, well that's interesting. I think there are a few targets for that. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I do think the 2K counter, the yellow Zeus card, it's like a yellow 2-cost, 2K counter, 3,000 power character, I believe, that makes you take a life card, but then you can KO a 5 or less. So maybe that's what this is intended to cheat out. I'm not sure, guys. No, I don't think that's the greatest investment there, where you're playing out a 4-cost 5K from your hand to play out a 2-cost from your hand. Who knows? Maybe they're working on something. You never know with Bandai. Maybe they're trying to come up with a Homies Big Mom Pirates type deck for the future. I would play it. I'm not going to lie. If they actually made an entire leader for the homies type of archetype or whatever you want to call that, I think that'd be really cool to mess around with. But until then, guys, there's not really anything that supports that just yet. Until then, I don't really know what this card's for. You know what I mean? Tell me if I missed something, guys. Maybe there's a card I'm not thinking of that could really bust this character. But off the top of my head, nothing's coming to me, guys, off the top of my head here. It's a 4-cost 5K with the 1K counter, so the stats are fine. But what are we trying to cheat out that's going to give us so much value that we even want to play this card or build a deck around this card? We'll have to see what happens. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, we have, guess we'll have another scrap. You can only risk death while you're still alive. Okay, so we have a 1-cost purple event here with King of the Pirates and Roger Pirates typing. With the effect, main, you may rest one of your Dawn cards, and if your leader is Goldie Roger, and you have any Dawn cards given, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. And then counter, your leader gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Okay, so here's another 3 Dawn turn, where we can actually ramp a Dawn, even though we only have 2 Dawn to work with for Roger, right? Because think of it like this, guys. This is still a 3 Dawn investment. It's 1 Dawn to activate this event here, and then we have to rest an additional Dawn as an additional cost here, and we have to have a Dawn given to our leader. Okay, so it still is technically 3 Dawn that's being invested over the turn in order to ramp. But that's not bad, right? That's not a bad thing. And then later in the game, once we're already at 9 or 10 Dawn where we don't want to use this event for that, well, now we have a 1-cost 3K counter for the rest of the game. So really good stuff here. Big fan of the design of this card. This is basically Roger's version of Gear 2, is the way that I would, interpret this. Like, the purple Gear 2 card for, like, blue-purple. This is basically Roger's version of that card. Good stuff. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, really cool looking card here, guys. We have Divine Departure. This is a 0-cost purple King of the Pirates Roger Pirates event with the effect, main, you may rest 5 of your Dawn cards, okay? And if you have any Dawn cards given, give up to 1 of your opponent's characters minus 8,000 power during this turn. That is devastating. We'll talk about that more in a minute. And then we have a counter. You may trash 1 card from your hand, and then up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Okay, guys, that's the first time we've seen this type of event, I believe. We've seen the 1-cost 3Ks with utility baked into them. Now we're seeing 0-cost 3Ks with utility baked into them. Now, remember, this acts just like a normal 0-cost 3,000 power event, or a 0-cost 3K counter event, where you do have to trash a card with the event to get the effect. However, it's a 0 cost, right? That's what makes it really, really strong, I think, is, you don't have to keep any Dawn active. So you can actually play out your 10-cost characters, and now you still have a 0-cost 3K in hand. And then against certain matchups, look at this main, guys. It's basically pay 5, and now you're giving a character minus 8,000 power for the turn. Man, that is really strong, guys. So let's talk about that. So the biggest character we've ever seen in the game so far is a 13,000 power character, which is Roger, right? There were 2 different times, right? There was the secret rarity Roger from, I can't remember the set. I think it was, I can't remember what set it was from. But guys, that was a 13,000 power rush secret rare. And now in this set, we're seeing a 13,000 power purple Roger. And it's just an SR, but still. So that's like what they want Roger to be at. Roger's like the strongest one. They're putting him at 13,000 power. Well, guys, even the strongest character in the game, 13,000 power. If you invest 5 Dawn for this event here, that's a 5,000 power character now. Okay, that's a lot easier to deal with. A really powerful effect here, really powerful event here in general. I'm a big fan of this, and I really hope they explore that. Let me see something real quick. Yeah, guys, one main thing to take away from this, hopefully they start printing more cards like this utility 0-cost 3K counter. Look at this, guys. Up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Understand, it's usually not like that. Usually these utility 3K counters look like this. Counter, your leader gains plus 3,000 power. Guys, this event is for leaders and characters. Huge fan of this card. I think this card is really powerful. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, wow. And that looks incredible. Guys, check out the alt art for this one. I love these Japanese symbols on the left here. That looks so good. It actually, it fits this picture so well. Look at that. That is awesome. It goes from this. Okay, and they basically zoomed in on it. It's in the original. I was going to say, did they add that? No, it's actually in the original picture they did. They just zoomed in on it and, you know, basically made it look even better. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, next up is go all the way to the top. This is a 1-cost purple former Roger Pirates type event with the effect main. You may rest 3 of your Dawn cards. Okay, so that will be 4 Dawn altogether. 1 for this effect here and then plus 3 more. If you have any Dawn cards given, KO. Okay, so it's really 5 Dawn cards, right, guys? If you have any Dawn cards given, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 4,000 base power or less, and up to one of your opponent's characters with 3,000 base power or less. Wow. Okay, so you're hitting a 4K and a 3K, and it does go off base power, so you cannot control anything more than that. You can't, like, reduce power and go from there. But still, you're basically paying 5 in this situation. 1 Dawn given, 1 Dawn to activate, 3 additional Dawn to activate, and you're KOing a 4,000 base power and a 3,000 base power character. Really solid. Okay, then we have counter. Your leader gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. So it's still a 1-cost 3K counter for your leader with that additional effect there. Very solid. We'll have to see if this gets used at all, because it will really come down to what is being run in the meta. And if there's a lot of decks that are going super wide with a bunch of 4,000 power and lower, you know, base power characters, then this card could be really, really strong. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, next up we have the stage, Oro Jackson. This is a 1-cost purple Roger Pirates type stage with the effect once per turn. When your character with a type including Roger Pirates is removed from the field by your opponent's effect, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. Okay, so this actually helps out big time with something I was talking about a little bit earlier with the 10-cost Roger card, where if, you know, one thing that really concerns me about playing out a 10-cost card that makes you go Dawn -3 within Roger Pirates is, okay, if I play out my 10-cost Roger, right? If I play that card out and go Dawn -3, my leader becomes 9,000 power. That's solid. That's really good, right? However, I'm going Dawn -3. So what if my opponent hits me with a red rock, right? What if they bottom deck my 10-cost character? Well, now next turn, I'm going up to 9 Dawn, so I'm not even going to be a 7,000 power character on that turn. Well, this card at least helps get around that, right? So if you have this stage down, I don't know how practical it will be to run, because it is very specific for, you know, decks that are running, you know, it's only going to be really good against decks that are running removal, right? Well, you know, if you do fit this into the deck and your card gets removed in that way, it will help as well, or it will help in that way. And another thing to consider as well is, okay, when your character with a type including Roger Pirates is removed from the field by your opponent's effect, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. So even just against decks that are just trying to remove characters along the way, okay, go ahead and remove my character, but if I have Oro Jackson down, I'm going to be ramping a Dawn every single time. So you're helping me get to 10 Dawn faster and faster and faster. So this is a solid stage here. I definitely don't think it's too strong. This is the kind of card that I think would be so incredible if there was a sideboard in this game, like a pre-sideboard like other games use. I think this would be incredible in the pre-sideboard, but it's going to be hard to justify running this card in the main deck, even when we have cards that have cycle built in, like I think it was Scopper's Gaben, or whatever his name is. Scopper's Goblin, I think his name might be. With something like that, you know, maybe we can cycle this card out and run like 1 or 2 in the main deck. But I don't, guys, this one does not even have a trigger to play it off, you know, play it off your trigger. So I don't know. It's going to be hard to justify clearing up a spot for this card in the deck, unfortunately. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, guys, next up we have Emu. That's right, we have a 5,000 power, 4 life, 5,000 power black leader, and the attribute and the type are unknown. It's a question mark. It's a mystery, right? The effect is, under the rules of this game, you cannot include events with a cost of 2 or more in your deck. And at the start of the game, play up to 1 Mary-Geoise type stage card from your deck. Activate main. Once per turn, you may trash one of your Celestial Dragons type characters or 1 card from your hand to draw a card. Okay, so this is a monocolor leader with only 4 life, right? That is typically not the way Bandai does things. Usually with the monocolor leaders, they're usually 5,000 power and 5 life, and then everything's built around that. So you just know already from the, you know, the initial design of this card, without knowing a single other card that we're about to read, you know that there's going to be some very, very strong support built around this leader to justify him having only for life, okay? So really good stuff here. So 5,000 power, 4 life, like we were saying. The effect there, under the rules of this game, you cannot include events with a cost of 2 or more in your deck, and at the start of the game, play up to 1 Mary Joie type stage card from your deck. That is going to happen, you know, when you build this deck, there cannot be any 2 cost or higher events in there, and then at the start of the game, you're going to put a stage directly into play. Okay, so that's already very strong. That's already starting to justify the idea of this being a 4-life leader, especially once we get to the stage, guys. There's a specific stage that we're going to be talking about when we get to it that makes that effect incredibly powerful. Okay, so keep that in mind as we're going through all these cards. But then the activate main here, once per turn, this activate main, guys, is very, very powerful. Read it very carefully. Understand what's going on here. Activate main once per turn. You may trash one of your Celestial Dragons type characters from the field, okay? Or trash a card from your hand. It doesn't matter what the type is, and draw a card. So you're cycling through your cards very efficiently with this leader here. You're filling up your trash. That's going to be very relevant for later. Keep that in mind. Okay, and then you're cycling through to you're fixing your hand with that effect. So very, very strong. It's like a subtle strength to this card right up front here. It doesn't read very, like when you read that, you're like, oh, that's okay, I guess, right? But it's actually very, very strong, guys. Being able to cycle the card every turn, being able to cycle characters you've already played on the board to draw cards later, that alone is powerful, right? Understand what that means. You have a character on the board, say you attack with it. Well, it does have to be a Celestial Dragons type character on the board, but say you attack in with it and like, okay, I'm going to lose that card next turn anyway. I'm just going to trash it now to draw a card. Yeah, that's very, very powerful, right? That has a lot of potential, okay? Now, this might not seem super powerful at first for the people who are first seeing this, but keep this card in mind because I'm going to be referencing it quite a bit as we're going through the rest of the cards in black. Okay, here we go. Everything will start making more sense, too, as we go through some of the other cards that are in this set for Emu. Okay, let's keep going. Very nice. There's the alt art, guys. Look at that intimidating eye just staring right into your soul, right? Very good stuff. Okay. Next up, we have St. Ethan Baron Venus Juro. This is a 6-cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter, black, Celestial Dragons, 5 Elders type character. With the effect, if you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects and gains Rush. Okay, and then when attacking, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. Okay. Guys, this is actually just a good card in general. I'm not going to lie. Notice this. If you notice something that's not in here. Okay, be thinking of things that should maybe be in here but aren't. If you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects and gains Rush. This is not a leader-locked card, guys. When attacking, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. This is in no way a leader-locked card, but you do have to fill up your trash to get the full effect of this card. Now, one thing to consider is we're going to look at 4 other characters just like this one. Okay, 4 other characters just like this one, and they're all going to have this initial clause right here, this initial condition here. Hang on, let me get the whole thing. Let me highlight it just up to there. If you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects. That will be on all the other 4 as well. Okay, and then the second part, though, gains Rush. That is unique to Ethan Baron Venus Juro. Okay, the other Elders will have other things, right? They'll have other effects to go with it, and the same thing with this when attacking effect. This is very specific to Venus, but the others will have other effects as well that are you know, tied to their kit. Okay, or tied to their character, rather. Okay, a lot going on here, but we have to keep going. A lot of this is going to make more sense over time as we go over all of them, but just know that this is one of the main pieces here, along with the other 4 or 5 Elders that go with Emu. Okay, really strong card, though, and I have to say this is just a generically strong card if you can fill up your trash. All right, let's keep going. Okay, next up, okay, we have the alt art. Check it out. There's 2 different versions of the alt art. There's like this, you know, there's just the standard alt art, and then there's like the super alt art. I don't know what they're calling this, maybe super parallel or something. Whatever the case is, this looks incredible, and I think they took on, they had a guest artist. I think it's from Jujutsu Kaisen, I believe, who did the art on these. Someone correct me in the comment section below if I'm off on that. I can't exactly remember, but whatever the case is, they look absolutely incredible. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next up we have Koala. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter, black Dressrosa Revolutionary Army type character with the effect, if your leader has the Revolutionary Army type, this character gains +3 cost. Activate main once per turn. You may place 1 card from your trash at the bottom of your deck. Give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. Okay, so if your leader's Revo Army, +3 cost, so it's an 8-cost character, that goes perfectly with Black-Yellow Koala. And then I think it also goes with Red-Black Sabo as well. And then activate main once per turn. Place 1 card from your trash at the bottom of your deck. It could be any type of card. It doesn't have to be Revo Army type. And then you can give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. This is a solid card here, guys. I don't know if there's going to be enough room to run this. I guess it depends on what you're trying to build, right? Like with Red-Black Sabo, I've already messed around with that deck quite a bit. And it's hard to find room for just a random card like this. I feel like the deck functions very well under a specific engine, but it's not like this is a bad card. It's just going to be a matter of, can we find enough room for it in the deck, especially at the 5-cost slot. Because if we're looking for a character that gives us pressure, we have 5-cost Black Karasu. And if we're looking for a card that's more defensive, we have 5-cost Black Sabo from all the way back in, I think it was like OP04 or OP05, I can't remember. But we have some really strong Revolutionary Army cards in the 5-cost spot. But that's not to say this is a bad card. It's really just going to come down to, is there enough room to run in the deck? We'll have to see. Good stuff here. Let's keep going. Okay, next up we have 5 Elders. Now, we're just going straight in order, guys. I wish we could have saved this one for the till the very end. But this is a 10-cost, 12,000 power character with Celestial Dragons and 5 Elders type. With the effect, activate main. If your leader is Emu, you may rest 1 of your Dawn cards and trash 1 card from your hand. Trash all of your characters and play up to 5 Elders type character cards with 5,000 power and different card names from your trash. So we're going to kind of just gloss over this one, unfortunately. Just understand, this is basically like the Exodia piece for the 5 Elders in Emu. Okay, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to play this out for 10. You're actually going to be able to cheat it out for cheaper than that. Hang on, guys. That's going to be the last card in black because the stages are at the very end. We're actually going to be able to cheat this card out for 3 Dawn. Sorry, guys, I'm going to have to spoil it. Once we get to the stage, we're going to be able to cheat this card out for 3 Dawn. Okay, then we can rest another Dawn for this activate main, trashing a card from hand as well, and we can go from there, getting all of our 5 Elders from the trash and putting them right into play, and they're ready to go, guys. This is a really, really powerful character here, guys. But keep this card in mind as we're going through the rest of the 5 Elders. All right, let's keep going. Okay, next up we have the alt art for it. This looks really good as well. And, all right, so now we have St. J. Garcia Saturn. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter, black, Celestial Dragons, 5 Elders type character. With the effect, if you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects. Okay, on play. Now, notice this one doesn't have Rush. It doesn't have anything that goes along with it, but it still cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects once you have 7 or more cards in your trash. And then on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 5 Elders type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Guys, it has to be said, just like what we saw with, I think it was Venus, these aren't leader locked at all. Now, they can only search up certain types of cards, 5 Elder type cards, but yeah, I mean, I love the fact that they kept these so open where we can probably run these in any deck that's running black that we want to mess around with. And as soon as we get to 7 or more cards in our trash, our opponent can't interact with our board anymore, right? I mean, there's a few ways you can like rest down and lock down and things like that, but you can't remove our characters anymore. So really, really cool stuff here. So this is the 4-cost, 5,000 power searcher for the 5 Elders. Really, really powerful effect here. But other than that, not too much else to talk about. It is important to mention at least that it's a 1k counter, so it's going to help you fill up your trash. It's going to help get it into the trash for later in the game when we play out the 10-cost character to get it back into play. Okay, next up. All right, we got the alt arts, of course. This is the regular alt art, and this is like the super parallel alt art or whatever they're going to be calling it. Looks incredible. Okay, next up we have St. Shepherd Jupiter. This is a 7-cost, 5,000 power, 2k counter, black Celestial Dragons, 5 Elders type character. With the effect, if you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects. And on your turn, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, set the base power of all of your 5 Elders type characters to 7,000. Guys, now all of a sudden, your little 5,000 power characters. Notice what we saw with, we just saw this with Saturn. This is a 5,000 power character. I'm not going to go all the way back, but even with Venus, that was a 6-cost 5,000 power character. But with Jupiter on the board, now all of your 5,000 power 5 Elders characters are going to be 7,000 power. And spoiler warning, guys, they're all 5,000 power. It goes with their theme. And this one, guys, this one's a 2,000 counter, guys. A 2K counter. Really good stuff here. Okay, let's keep going. Here's the alt art, and then the super alt art. Very cool. Notice it's mainly just the border, right? If you look at it, the alt art and the super alt art are the exact same. It looks like they just put some crazy stuff around the border, and then they add this red and black Supreme Conquerors hockey, or whatever you want to call it. Really cool stuff there, though. Okay, next up we have Saint Jalmac. This is a 2-cost, 4,000 power, Black Celestial Dragons type character with no base effect. So this is just a 2-cost vanilla character. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next up we have Saint Shalria. This is a 1-cost, 0 power, 1,000 counter, Black Celestial Dragons type character. With the effect, on play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Celestial Dragons type card other than Saint Shalria, and add it to your hand. Then trash the rest and trash 1 card from your hand. So this card is going to help you fill up your trash. And I think it's worded in this way in particular to kind of discourage it being used outside of Emu, because what other deck is going to want to fill up their trash to that extent? But again, like I was saying, you might want to run these 5 Elders maybe in another type of black deck. We'll have to see what happens. Whatever the case is, though, this is still a very strong searcher. You're searching up your Celestial Dragons type stuff, and you can go from there. But yeah, this is a awesome searcher for Emu and for the 5 Elders, because it's going to let you fix your hand, fill up your trash, and then you could even trash this card from the field with Emu's effect to draw a card. Okay, great searcher for Emu. Let's keep going. Okay, next up we have Saint Charlos. This is a 2-cost, 0 power, 1,000 counter, Black Celestial Dragons type character with the effect Blocker, and on play, trash 1 card from the top of your deck. Fills up your trash, puts down 2-cost blocker, has a 1K counter. Perfect filler card for any kind of Emu build. Excellent. Let's keep going. Okay, next up we have Terry Giltio. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power, 2K counter, Black Revolutionary Army type character with no base effect. Okay, 5-cost, 6,000 power, 2K counter. We'll take it every time. Okay, nice filler card here. Next up we have Saint Topman Warcury. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter, Black Celestial Dragons 5 Elders type character with the effect, if you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, and it gains Blocker. And then on KO, draw 1 card. Very, very good stuff here. So this is like the other 4 costs where or this is like all the others where you have the, if you have 7 or more cards in your trash, you're going to be able to, how do I say this? This character will not be removed from the field by your opponent's effects, but this one gains Blocker. Okay, so we saw 1 gets Rush. 2 of them, Venus gains Rush. What was it? We haven't gotten to Mars yet. Venus gains Rush. Jupiter and Saturn, they don't gain anything. They just can't be removed from effects. They can't be removed from the field by your opponent's effects. And then Mercury here, or Warcury, he gets Blocker. And then the last one we'll look at also gains Blocker. Sorry for the spoiler, but just to give some idea, you get 2 cards with Blocker, 1 with Rush, and the other 2 are doing other things with utility. But this Blocker also has on KO, draw a card. So even if they finally, attack in and you have to use the Blocker, you're drawing a card. Great design with these 5 Elders, I have to say. These are very interesting, fun cards, and they look really cool too. Even the base art for all these have been really interesting to me. Okay, but good stuff here. 4-cost, 5K blocker with a 1K counter. This is actually, and on KO, draw a card. This is actually just a good card in general, especially if, it doesn't have blocker unless you have 7 or more cards in your trash, but then it also can't be removed from the field by your opponent's effects when you hit that point. So really good stuff here. Okay, let's keep going. All right, here's the alt art for it and the super parallel. Really good looking alt art here, guys. I love all the colors going on here, especially that teal and whatnot. Really good stuff. Okay. Next up, we have Hack. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power, 2K counter, Fishman, Dressrosa, Revolutionary Army type character here with no base effect. Okay, so it's a vanilla 2K counter. Good stuff. And this one is for Fishman, Dressrosa, and Revo Army. All right, let's keep going. All right, next up, we have St. Marcus Mars. This is a 6 cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter, black Celestial Dragons, 5 Elders type character. With the effect, if you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects and gains blocker. Like I said, I kind of spoiled that, guys, but another card with blocker. And then on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 5 or less. Okay. On play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 5 or less. So really good way to finish out the whole 5 Elders characters here. Another character with blocker. It has a 1k counter, and then you're on play KOing a 5 or less. Guys, that's actually just really good, right? That's actually just really, really strong. Very cool looking card here. Very cool design. Big fan of this one. I love that you have removal coming back into the game, but with all the anti-removal we've seen and not a whole lot of removal we're seeing, it's one of those situations where hopefully this card will still be able to get value. I'm sure it's going to get value from something, right? It's not like it's not going to get any value, but you guys know what I mean, hopefully. Either way, very strong card. Big fan of this one, and I like the fact that once you do the full 5 Elders thing, right? So now that we've seen all the 5 Elders, imagine you play out the 10 cost, and then you do the effect to get all of them back into play. You're going to do a top 5 search. You're going to establish 2 blockers, one of which draws a card when it gets KO'd. All of your attackers are going to be 7,000 power now, and then you're going to be able to KO a 5 or less when this comes into play, and it gets around any kind of cost increase here. It goes off of base cost. Really, really powerful, cool interactions there. And 1 card can rush. I almost forgot about that. That gives minus 2,000 power to a character for the turn when attacking. Okay, good stuff. Let's keep going. Okay, this one's pretty colorful here, guys. Check this one out. Still a good-looking art, but this one's like too much for me. It's like there's too much going on for me in this one. I like the others a little bit more. I wish we could have had more focus on the character, this guy, Mars. I see him back there. We can see his eye all the way back here, but I wish that he was a little bit more zoomed in on. Either way, like I said, the art looks incredible. Okay, let's keep going. Next up, we have St. Mosgard. This is a 2 cost, 0 power, 2k counter, black Celestial Dragons type character. With on play, if you have 3 or less life cards, play up to 1 Mary Joie type stage card with a cost of 1 from your trash. So this is like a utility 2k counter to get stages out of your trash, specifically up to 1 Mary Joie type stage. Not too much to talk about here. If there's enough stage removal to worry about, then of course this card gets extra value, and it's a 2k counter, utility 2k counter. Seems good, but not too much to talk about here. Okay. Next up, we have Morgans. All right, we got a 3 cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter, black journalist type character card here with the effect blocker, and on play, draw 2 and trash 2 cards from your hand. Wow. Okay. This is actually such a solid utility blocker here, guys. Think about it. 3 cost, 4,000 power, has 1k counter and blocker, and then on play, draw 2, trash 2. I think this is just a good card in general. I'm not going to lie. I think this is actually just a really solid card in general. So, I don't think it's broken or busted or, like, meta-defining, but, man, what a nice utility piece for any deck that's trying to run black. You get a 3 cost 4k blocker, has the 1k counter, and you're fixing your hand and filling up your trash. Awesome. Awesome card here. Not too much more to talk about it other than that, but it is important to mention, man, what a great card for black to have and just fix your hand up and put down a blocker. Again, it's like there's no downside to the card. You know what I mean? We'll have to see, though, guys, with the way this game is going, is there even going to be enough room in a deck to run something like this as opposed to the pieces that are contributing to what you're trying to do with the deck? We'll have to see. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next up we have York. This is a 1 cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter, egghead scientist type character. With the effect on play, up to one of your Celestial Dragons type characters gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. Okay, that's odd. I'm not really sure what they're trying to do with this, guys. Tell me if you figure it out in the comment section below. And this is an egghead scientist type character, so you can't even search this up with Celestial Dragons type stuff. I have no idea, guys. Maybe this is something to do with the actual anime. Maybe there's some type of lore reason for this card. But other than that, this card seems like it doesn't have a lot of potential. Okay? Doesn't seem like this one has too much potential. But who knows, guys? Maybe you can use 1 Dawn to buff one of your 7,000 power Celestial Dragons 5 Elders character by 2,000. I don't know. You guys tell me. I don't see this card making it into any decks, though, unfortunately. All right, next up. St. Rosward. Okay, we have a 3 cost, 0 power, 1k counter, black Celestial Dragons type character. With the effect, on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand, and if you only have Celestial Dragons type characters, KO up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 3 or less. Okay, so guys, you're playing out this card, you're trashing a card, filling up your trash, and then you're going to be KOing 2 3 cost or lower base cost, 3 base cost or lower characters, and now you can even trash this card with Emu to draw cards and fix your hand a little bit while erasing your opponent's board. Really, really awesome stuff here, guys. Big fan of this card. This will be nice to help Emu set up going into the late game. You can clear up any of the, any deck that's trying to aggro out against you. Okay, well, we're just going to nip that right at the bud, right? We're just going to snip that right at the bud there and get rid of those cards. And now we're going to trash this card and fix our hand and go from there. And now we filled up our trash. You lost 2 characters. Really strong early game card here to help deal with the early pressure decks. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, now we're on the events. We have the 5 Elders are at your service. This is a 1 cost Celestial Dragons 5 Elders event. With the effect, main, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Celestial Dragons type card other than the 5 Elders are at your service, and add it to your hand, then trash the rest. Trigger, activate this card's main effect. So this is like your 1 cost event searcher for Emu, searching up your 5 Elders. Let me see something. Look at 3 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Celestial Dragons type card other than 5 Elders are at your service. Other than the 5 Elders are at your service, and add to your hand, then trash the rest. Trigger, activate this card's main effect. So again, guys, it's not a leader locked card. Man, that makes me want to mess around with a some type of black deck that's running the 5 Elders outside of Emu. Maybe there could be something there. That could be very interesting, right? Because it looks like there's a lot of support here that doesn't force you to have the leader being Emu. But whatever the case is, guys, very, very solid searcher that we're seeing in black now, where it's just a good way to do searching while filling up your trash. That's exactly what black's trying to do nowadays with most of their interactions. Good stuff here. Let's keep going. Okay, next up we have the world's equilibrium cannot be maintained forever. This is a 1 cost Celestial Dragons 5 Elders type event. With the effect, main, you may rest 5 of your Dawn cards. If the only characters on your field are Celestial Dragons type characters, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 6 or less, and then counter, your leader gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Okay, so it's a 1 cost 3,000 power, utility counter for the leader, or 1 cost 3k counter event for the leader, right? But it has pay 5 more, so pay 6 altogether, right? 1 to activate the event and an additional cost of 5, so 6 Dawn altogether. And if the only characters on your field are Celestial Dragons type characters, you can KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 6 or less. Okay, so good stuff here. Not a whole lot to talk about. I'm glad that it goes off base cost in some ways, and then I'm not glad in others, because if I wanted to work in any type of cost reduction, then this does get hurt a little bit, right? But at the same time, it's a very solid event, especially for Emu, trying to build around the 5 Elders. Good stuff here. Okay, let's keep going. Next up, we have Never Existed in the First Place. Is a 1 cost Celestial Dragons 5 Elders type event. With main, you may rest 1 of your Dawn cards, and if your leader is Emu, KO up to 1 of your opponent's stages with a cost of 7. Counter, if your leader is Emu, up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains plus 4,000 power during this battle. Okay, now this one, they turn into like a 1 cost 4k event with a main effect as well. But it can only be used within Emu. And this can protect characters and leaders, though, guys. This is a very, very powerful event here for Emu. 1 cost, 4k counter that can protect your leader or your characters, but you can only run it in Emu. And then the main effect is really not all that. The main effect might not even make sense to some people just yet if you don't know the next card we're about to look at. Or I think it's the next card, the stage when we get to that. You may rest 1 of your Dawn cards, so 2 altogether. Pay 1 to activate, pay 1 additional cost here, and if your leader is Emu, KO up to 1 of your opponent's stages with a cost of 7. Not 7 or less, just 7, period. Right? Very, very specific, right? What's going on there? I think that's the next card we're about to look at. But that's a very specific effect, so I understand why this 1 cost event here can give 4k to characters or leaders, because it can only be used in Emu, and it's really just a 1 cost 4k restricted to 1 leader, because that main effect is meant more for the mirror match, and you'll see that in just a second. Okay, Next up, like I said, the Empty Throne. I had a feeling that was the next card. The stages are always the last card, and they come after the events. So this is a 7-cost black Mary Joie type stage with the effect, your turn, if you have 19 or more cards in your trash, your leader gains plus 1,000 power. Okay? If you have 19 or more cards in your trash, your leader gains plus 1,000 power. And then activate main, you may rest this card and 3 of your Dawn cards. Play up to 1 black 5 Elders type character card with a cost equal to or less than the number of Dawn cards on your field from your hand. Okay, so again, this is what ties the entire package together for Emu, right? Because we're trying to fill up our trash, and then we're trying to play out the 10-cost character to cheat all of our cards we put into our trash back onto the board. Well, Emu, the leader, allows you to put this card into play, right? From the beginning of the game, you get to start with a 7-cost stage in play, okay? And this stage here is going to allow you to play out the 10-cost character for 3 Dawn as soon as you have 10 Dawn on the field. You have to get to 10 Dawn, then you can play a character that costs 10 Dawn or less for 3 Dawn. Okay, and it's activate main and rest this card, so it's basically a once per turn effect because you have to rest the stage to do it. Okay, now you're going to play out that 5 Elders card. And from there, you're going to be able to pay 1 more for the effect of that card and trash a card. That's the part of the activation cost, basically. And then you're going to trash it and every card on your board to play all of your 5-cost Elders and put them into play. I think this card right here is a major part of the engine that's going to make Emu into a very strong deck in the format. And that's why they printed this event here to deal with this card in the mirror match, I guess. But you can only deal with this card if your leader is Emu. So that's one thing that's very interesting. I think it's going to make the mirror match a very interesting matchup, but we'll have to see what happens. Other than that, there's not a whole lot to talk about for this stage. It is really mainly geared for Emu, okay, for the leader. Because even we have to back up, guys, and go all the way back to the 5 Elders. Even though we looked at every one of these 5 Elders, and you can run them in any deck, it doesn't matter who your leader is, the 10-cost 5 Elders character, it is locked to Emu. Activate main. If your leader is Emu, you may rest 1 of your Dawn cards and trash 1 card from your hand, and then trash all of your characters and play up to 5 Elder type character cards with 5,000 power and different name cards from your trash. So, I mean, technically you can cheat this card out, you know, even if you're not running Emu as your leader, which maybe that's not even a terrible idea. Maybe it's not even a terrible idea, guys, if, you know, if we do kind of try to mess around with an idea of building a 5 Elders deck outside of Emu. If we get down the stage, first of all, we can start cheating these cards into play for cheaper, and then we can just play out a 3-cost, 12,000 power character. There could be something fun to that. And one more thing to talk about with the stage, we got to mention one more thing here. Hang on, we go all the way to the end. Here it is. Notice the your turn effect. If you have 19 or more cards in your trash, your leader gains plus 1,000 power. It's not leader locked. And then activate main, rest this card and 3 of your Dawn cards. That part's not leader locked either. It's just type locked. You have to cheat out a 5 Elders type character card. So interesting stuff here, guys. I think there could be, we could have a lot of fun with this. This might be something to really have fun with in the future on the channel, messing around with what all leaders can run the 5 Elders packaged, you know, and make it work. Okay, that's it for the black cards, guys. Let's go ahead and move over to yellow. Okay, Jory Bonnie, 5,000 power, 5 life, yellow, egghead, Bonnie Pirates type leader. With the effect, your turn, once per turn. This effect can be activated when you play a character with a trigger and give up to 2 rested Dawn cards to 1 of your leader or character cards. Okay, so what you're doing here is, this is just like a generic 5 life, 5,000 power leader for yellow with egghead and Bonnie Pirates type. And the your turn effect is saying whenever you play out a trigger card, you get to attach 2 rested Dawn cards to your leader or a character, right? To one of your leaders or characters. So really powerful effect here if you think about it, because if you build an entire deck around triggers, first of all, your life is going to be full of triggers, right? And then second of all, whenever you play out one of these cards, at the minimum, at the very least, you can attach 2 Dawn to your leader and swing for 7,000 every single turn, right? Every single turn you can play out a trigger character. So this leader actually has a lot of potential, even though the effect might seem a little bit boring when you first read it. It's really not that bad. You're going to be able to build a very fun... This is probably going to be a very fun deck to play, guys, because you're going to build an entire deck of trigger characters. And so every time you take a hit, you're getting a trigger, like we're saying, like a hit to life, you're getting a trigger potentially. And then from there, you're playing out all these trigger cards and buffing your leader in the process. So really, really cool stuff with this leader. I like how simplistic it is, and yet still very powerful, very solid. Okay, good stuff here. Let's keep going. Okay, there's the alt art of Bonnie crying. Very good. Okay, next up we have Atlas. 5 cost, 6,000 power, 2k counter vanilla character. Not much to talk about here, but it is a 5 cost egghead scientist character for what that matters. Okay, next up is Edison. 3 cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter, yellow egghead scientist type character. With the effect, activate main. You may trash this character, and if the number of your life cards is equal to or less than the number of your opponent's life cards, draw 1 card. Then rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So, let me read the trigger real quick too, actually. Trigger, draw 1 card, and rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. So it's basically, the trigger's basically the activate main and just no condition. Just draw a card and rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. But the activate main, this is a 2k counter, so it is worth mentioning that. And the fact that this card does have a trigger is actually very, very important, right? Because now we can actually, you know, play this out on curve with Bonnie and go from there. But the activate main effect, you may trash this character if the number of your life cards is equal to or less than the number of your opponent's life cards, draw 1 card. That might actually be hard to do with Bonnie. Because remember, guys, Bonnie's a 5 life leader, and it's probably meant to be played very, very aggressively, where you're playing down these trigger characters, attaching 2 free Dawn to your leader, and just smashing into their face. So this Edison is probably not going to be that easy to run in Bonnie, but it might be very strong in something like Vegapunk, right? And now notice this, the card is not leader locked in any way, by the way. You may trash this character, and if the number of your life cards is equal, like there is no leader or type blocking anywhere in here. Same thing with the trigger. So this might just be a solid utility 2k counter for any yellow deck moving forward, but I think it will get the most value from something like Vegapunk. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next up we have Gyogo. This is a 4 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter, yellow Bonnie Pirates type character with no base effect, just a vanilla. Okay, let's keep going. All right, now we have Kazuki Hiyori. This is a 4 cost, 0 power, 1k counter, yellow Land of Wano Kazuki clan type character with blocker, and on KO, you may trash 1 card from your hand, and if your leader is multicolored, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Okay, so here we go. We got a 4 cost blocker, and as long as and it has a 1k counter too, and that does matter in case it's like it's not a brick in hand. And then on KO, trash a card, gain a life if your leader is multicolored. Really solid stuff here to help out the multicolored yellow leaders out there. But other than that, it's really not a bad card in general, right? The fact that it's a 4 cost blocker, you're stopping an attack, and then you're trashing a card to gain a life. Really good stuff here, guys. They're starting to give yellow a lot of life gain, and I am happy to see that because I think out of all the colors in the game right now, I feel like yellow might be in the worst place. Some people might argue a few other colors in that category, but I think yellow is still technically in the worst place. I could be wrong about that, but the more life gain it gets, the better it's getting for yellow. But we'll have to see if we can find a way to really bust that and make yellow a top contender. But whatever the case is, 4 cost blocker with a 1k counter, gain a life on KO, we'll take it every single time. Okay, next up we have Kazuki Momonosuke. This is a 3 cost, 0 power, 1000 counter, yellow Land of Wano Kazuki clan type character. With the effect, on play, look at all of your life cards and place them back in your life area in any order. Okay, we haven't seen an effect like this in a while, I feel like, guys. Looking at all of your life cards and placing them back in the order you want. But it's really not great other than that. This is a 3 cost, 0 power character with a 1k counter. I could not imagine finding a way to fit this into any deck currently. And the fact that this is a Momonosuke card, I think that means you won't even be able to push it into life in a Land of Wano yellow deck with the 5 cost 6k blocker Momonosuke. Because I think he could push any card into life that's Land of Wano other than a card named Momonosuke. So it's really unfortunate they chose not to change these two around. It's too bad they didn't choose to make this the Momonosuke card and make this into the Hiyori card. So that way, after we look at our life cards, we can push Hiyori back into our life and at least get some value from it. Because this is a 0 power character, guys. This is a 0 power character. And not to mention, if you look at this, it looks like Momonosuke is guarding or protecting Hiyori, right? So they're blocking for Hiyori. So it would have made more sense to me if they had made this into Momonosuke, because this is a blocker and it has life manipulation going on, you know, gaining life like you would do with the 5-cost Momonosuke. Whereas this, I don't know what we're supposed to do with this card, to be honest, guys, other than that. And like I said, because it's a Kazuki Momonosuke, I don't think you can gain life with it per the 5-cost blocker. That would have been a perfect on-curve play. Like 3 Dawn. Okay, let me see my life cards. Okay, I know it's coming. 5 Dawn. Play out the 5-cost 6K blocker, Momonosuke, gain a life. But I don't think we can. Well, whatever the case is, and the fact that this is not even a 2K counter is wild to me. Guys, that is absolutely insane. It's a yellow card with no trigger. It has no power. I don't know what's going on here. Am I missing something? Someone help me in the comment section below. This just seems like a dead card for the most part. Again, if I'm missing something, maybe it'll make more sense as we go through the rest of the cards, the rest of the support. But for now, guys, it's hurting my head to even think about. I don't see how this card is even playable. I hate to say it like that. I try to stay optimistic about every card, but this is a 3-cost, 0 power card. I would have almost rather been a 3-cost 5,000 power card with no counter and have this effect so I can actually do something with it on my opponent's turn. But who knows? Let's keep going. All right, next up we have Connie. This is a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1K counter, yellow Bonnie Pirates type character with the effect, opponent's turn. When a trigger activates, this character gains blocker during this turn. Trigger, play this card. Okay, opponent's turn. When a trigger activates, this character gains blocker during this turn. Interesting. And the trigger plays this card. So one thing we'll have to confirm, I have not checked all the Q&A, all the rulings on OP13 just yet, but if this card, I think someone mentioned this either in a stream or in the comment section when I've talked about this card in the past, if this card can become a blocker off of its own effect, you know, like from its own trigger, excuse me. So for example, can I trigger this card into play, and now I've activated a trigger on my opponent's turn and then give this card blocker? Then this card's actually pretty solid, but otherwise, I don't think this card is great. Now, it is a 1-cost card with trigger, so it can go right into Bonnie, and it's going to be able to buff your leader, you know, or attach 2 Dawn to your leader or one of your characters. It has a lot of value in that way. And then for the rest of the turn, whenever a trigger activates, this character gains blocker during this turn. You know, so I guess my main question, I know I answered it, or I asked it in a very clumsy way, is will this card come into play from the trigger being able to activate that opponent's turn effect? And I think the answer is no, guys. I mean, maybe there's like a weird way that this ruling works here where it's, you know, because think about it, that effect there can't act, you're activating the trigger effect, right? And this card's not even on the board to try to see if on your opponent's turn a trigger effect is going to activate. But again, if someone knows, by all means, say something in the comment section below. If this card can come in from the trigger and be a blocker right away, I think this card's excellent. Otherwise, I think it's just a very odd 1-drop. It is a decent utility 1-drop, but I almost feel like this would have been better as like a 1-cost, 0 power, 2K counter with this effect. Then it would have had some extra utility built in. We're like, okay, it's at least a 2K counter at the end of the day, worst case scenario. But other than that, I don't think the card's completely worthless or anything, because in a deck that's running a lot of triggers, you're going to be able to get this card blocker very easily and go from there. And it also has trigger to play this card as well. It has a trigger as well. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next up we have Shaka. This is a 5-cost, 7,000 power, 1K counter, Egghead Scientist vanilla character. No base effect. Very solid. Let's keep going, though. Not much to talk about here. Except the art. The art does look really cool in this. I love those blues. That looks awesome. Okay, next up we have Jori Bonnie. This is a 9-cost, 10,000 power, yellow Egghead Bonnie Pirates type character. With the effect, on play, if your leader has the Egghead type, this character gains rush during this turn. Then your opponent adds 1 card from the top of their life cards to their hand. Okay, so you're burning a life. Trigger, if you have 1 or less life cards, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 7 or less. So, This card is insanely powerful, I have to say, guys. On play, it has Rush. If your leader's Egghead, this character gains Rush, and then your opponent adds the top card of their life to their hand. So you're burning a card from the top of their life, and you're attacking in for 10k, right? You're attacking in for 10,000. So the card is extremely good, and the trigger's no joke either. But I think there's only 2 decks in the game currently that can even run this card. Right, I think it's going to be Jory Bonnie and Vegapunk, if I'm not mistaken. Someone help me out if I'm off on that. But I think there's only 2 leaders that can run this card, unfortunately. But that's not a bad thing. Those leaders need support too, obviously. But a card this powerful, I wish more yellow cards had access to this. I know, it'd be real strong. Trust me, I get it. Yeah, the card's real strong, guys. 9 cost, 10,000 power rush card. That was probably going to be good by itself. And then tack on, this extra ability here to burn a life. And the trigger, yeah, we'll take it every time. Really good stuff here. One more thing I want to mention about the trigger is I'm sad it does not go off of a base cost. I wish it said if you have 1 or less life cards, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 7 or less. That way, a lot of the 8 cost characters in the format right now would not be able to get around that, like with Red Black Sabo. But I don't know, maybe that's me being too greedy. I almost wish it had just said 8 costs or less. That's just me personally. Either way, extremely, extremely solid card here. Not a whole lot to talk about. It's a 9 cost 10k with Rush that also burns a life. And that's not talking about the Rush. We're talking about on play, burn life, then attack in with Rush. Really good stuff here. Okay. Oh, wow. Awesome. Look at the alt art for this one, guys. This is really cool. Really good looking alt art here. Okay, next up we have Jory Bonnie. Wait, we have another Jory Bonnie here, guys. This is a 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter, yellow supernova Bonnie Pirates type character. With the effect, if this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up instead, and then trigger, draw 2 and trash 1. So it's always nice to have the draw 2 and trash 1 cards from your hand trigger, just in general. That is such a nice trigger to have, because it fixes your hand, fills up your trash for the decks that care about that. And yeah, it's just not a brick, right? Even still, it's not a brick, even if it didn't have a trigger, because it's at least a 1k counter. But this could help you fix your hand to go for, to try to win the game if you didn't have enough counter power. But whatever the case is, 5 cost 6k with the 1k counter and protection built in, just turning the top card of your life face up to prevent if this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect. So bottom deck, bounce the hand, trash the card, KO, whatever. Not from battle, but from any type of effect. Just flip the top card of your life face up, and this card is protected. Really, really good stuff here. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, next up we have Stussy. This is a 7 cost, 7,000 power, yellow egghead CP0 type character with the effect blocker, and on play, if your leader has the egghead type, play up to 1 character card with a cost of 5 or less and a trigger from your hand. So we got to spend a little bit of time on this one, guys. Yellow's like my favorite color in the game, so bear with me. We got to talk about this one. I love this card. I think this card is absolutely incredible. But it has one glaring weakness. And it's not the fact that it doesn't have a counter. I can live with that. The card is so good. The card's effect is so strong. I can live with the fact that it does not have a counter. But the fact that it is locked to egghead leaders only is devastating to me. I thought that this character was going to swoop in and save the day for Yellow. But Bandai said, nope, we're not letting Yellow have this kind of interaction. If your leader has the egghead type, play up to 1 character card with a cost of 5 or less and a trigger from your hand. That effect was so awesome. And I don't even think it was broken, by the way. I mean, guys, look at what we're seeing nowadays. We're seeing Emu go, okay, we're just going to cheat a bunch. I know that one is locked as well. Not just any black deck can run that. It's mainly Emu with the 10 cost Elder character. But still, I just feel like this card would not have been busted if you could play it in other yellow decks other than Egghead. Because here we go again. This 7 cost Stussy. This is going to be great in Bonnie. It's going to be great in what's his name, Vegapunk as well. But I would have been so happy with this card in red, yellow Sabo, blue, yellow Ace. I mean, fill in the blank. All the different yellow decks out there would have loved to play this card, but we can't. But anyway, guys, let me not get too bogged down by that idea. This card is incredible. Okay, when it comes to the Egghead decks that can play this, I think it's just 2. I think it's Vegapunk and Bonnie. This card is incredible, and it also completes your odd curve, where you're going to go 7 Dawn Stussy into 9 Dawn, the Jory Bonnie we just looked at, the 9 cost Bonnie we were looking at. Just incredible. You're flooding your board, you're attacking in, you're establishing a blocker, you're giving Dawn to your leader, you're just beating your opponent down, especially in Bonnie. Vegapunk has, benefits as well from this, but man, this card in Bonnie seems like an absolute powerhouse. We'll have to see what happens going forward. Okay, let's keep going. All right, now we have the Alt-Art. So good. That looks so awesome. Love that really soft palette there. This is a piece by Peach Momoko. Really good artist and great piece here. Looks awesome. Okay, next up we have Pythagoras. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power, 2K counter, egghead scientist type character. It's just a vanilla 2K counter. Nothing too much to talk about here. But I think 5 cost and under is typically what they want to go for the egghead scientist stuff, right? Because I think that goes better with Vegapunk. But I could be wrong about that. Y'all tell me in the comment section below. Either way, the art looks amazing on this one. Really big fan of this style here. And then the fact that it's just a 6-cost, 7,000 power, 2K counter vanilla. Not much else to talk about there. Okay, let's keep going. Next up, we have Vegapunk. Okay, this is a 1-cost, 1,000 power, yellow egghead scientist type character. With the effect, if you have a total of 2 or more given Dawn cards, this character gains blocker. Okay, well, that's going to be very easy to pull off within Bonnie because, hang on, yeah, if you have a total of 2 or more given Dawn cards, so it could be to your leader or to a character, then this character gains blocker. Really good stuff here, but there's also not a whole lot to talk about with this one. This is just a really nice utility blocker, 1-cost blocker with a 1K counter, and it's conditional, but if you're attaching 2 Dawn to your leader, it's really not conditional, right? You're going to have that every time with your leader effect because you're going to be able to, slam down a character with with a trigger and attach 2 Dawn to your leader for free as long as you're playing Bonnie. Now, within Vegapunk, as funny as it is, this card's probably not that good in Vegapunk, although at the same time, maybe it is. Because you can attach, you can use your leader's effect for 1 Dawn every time. So as you get to your 8, 9, 10 Dawn turns, for 1 Dawn, you can play this out. 2 Dawn attached to a character, maybe attach 2 Dawn to 2 different characters. And then from there, it'll be easier to keep this effect active. I don't know. You guys tell me what y'all think. Whatever the case is, I think this card was meant more for Bonnie, and I think it's going to be very solid in there. All right, next up we have Lilith. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter, yellow egghead scientist type character. With the effect on play, look at 4 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 card with a trigger other than Lilith and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then we have a trigger to activate this card's on play effect. So this is basically the perfect, how do I say this? This is the perfect trigger searcher in the game. And it's the perfect searcher for Bonnie as well. Because everything Bonnie's going to run is probably going to be trigger focused, obviously, right? So you're going to look at 4 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 card with a trigger other than Lilith and add it to your hand, then put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, and then you're going to attach 2 Dawn to your leader, Bonnie, and go from there. Now, you can still run this, of course, in other decks, like Vegapunk, but you can actually run this in any deck, guys. The only card that you can't search with this is Lilith, another card named Lilith, which is a pretty standard condition for searchers, right? That's usually something you can't get around, is searching up a card with the same name as the searcher, but some can get around that. But whatever the case, top 4 search for a trigger. Who knows? Maybe I'll start messing around with a red-yellow Sabo list that's more trigger-focused with a card like this. But that's where it really pains me, guys. I got to go backwards. Y'all bear with me. It really hurts me, the fact that I cannot run a card like this in red-yellow Sabo. Because then I could build an entire deck based around Stussy and this 1-cost searcher Lilith right here to do some searching. But hey, it is what it is. We'll move on. We will endure. It's still a good card in general, though. I do really like this card, and I like that they're basically making it where yellow has a few different ways you can play it now. You can either build like a really tanky life gain build where you just kind of curve out and just gain life all along the way, or you can play a more aggressive way that's built around triggers, and you just kind of beat your opponent down, and when they try to, attack into you, it's like thorns, right? It's almost like a thorns build. It's like, okay, if you attack into me, you're going to hit some triggers along the way and just hurt yourself even more. So I do like that quite a bit. Okay, let's keep going. Really solid searcher here. And it came with an incredible alt-art, guys. Look at this alt-art. That is awesome. Man, that is really, really cool. That looks great. Okay, next up we have S-Snake, 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter, yellow, Seraphim, egghead type character. With the effect, on play and when attacking, you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. And then trigger, you may trash 1 card from your hand to play this card. Okay. I mean, like, it's not a bad card, right? It's a 4 cost 5k with a 1k counter, trigger, trash a card to play a card. We've seen that before. That's, you know, that was the original trigger stipulation, the original condition to play out a trigger character from your life was you have to trash a card from hand. So we're going back to that. I'm not disappointed with that. I actually do like that. I think that was a more balanced approach to triggers, to be honest. But this on play and when attacking effect here, you're turning a card from the top of your life cards face up. Sorry if you guys hear my stomach rumbling, guys. I'm starting to get kind of hungry. But you're turning a life card face up. I don't love that. I don't love that. In fact, I almost wish it was turn a life card face down, because I feel like we see a lot of effects that turn life cards face up. I feel like we need some to turn them face down. And then if they're going to make that into a theme, I'm not opposed to it as long as they give enough support to go back and forth with it. But whatever the case, I think for the, since we are having to turn a life card face up, which means typically speaking, our opponent can just play around it by not attacking into our life. Well, maybe it should do minus 3,000 power for the turn instead of just minus 2,000, but I don't know. I'm sure they tested these cards and they determined, okay, 2,000 is where it needs to be at. Whatever the case, solid card, not too much else to talk about. It's always good to have access to these 4 cost 5k, 1k counter trigger bodies that can come into play by trashing a card and with some potential upside as well. Okay, let's keep going. Very cool. Got the altar. This one looks very nice here. But it looks like she's really sad in this one. I do love that background there, guys. Really big fan of like that dotted background like that. That looks really, really good. We saw that with the Pythagoras. I wonder if that was the same artist. We got to look real quick. No, it's not. This one says Adel, maybe? Adel Company? I can't really, I can't quite make it out from here. And this one's not the same person. I can barely even read that. Kusanagi Harui. Whatever the case, this looks amazing. Really incredible art here. Love to see it. Okay, we're almost done, guys. We're on the events for yellow. Paper Art After Image. This is a 2 cost yellow egghead CP0 type event with the effect counter up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Then, if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Okay, and then trigger, draw 1 card. Okay, so it's important to note that whenever you're increasing power from counters, you need to check, like, does it do it for the battle or for the turn? This card does both, by the way. But when it's a turn-long effect, then it is really powerful, right? So this one says up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Okay, it's a 2 cost 3k. That's actually kind of understated, right? That's actually underpowered. However, if your opponent has 2 or less life cards, up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Okay, so now it's a 2 cost 4k like it should be if your opponent has 2 or less life. And you can also move that around. You can give plus 3,000 here and plus 1,000 here. You can do quite a bit with that. But I think more often than not, it's meant to be a card that's like a 2 cost 4k that turns your leader into a 6,000 power leader for the turn. Could be wrong about that. I'm not a huge fan of this. I'm not in love with the effect, but I don't think it's terrible. I just think it's extremely like mediocre. You know what I mean? Hopefully that made sense. If you guys can think of like an incredible interaction with this, by all means say something in the comment section below. All right, let's keep going. Guys, my stomach's starting to growl like crazy. We got to wrap this up. Here we go. All right, the one who's the most free is the Pirate King. 1 cost yellow Supernova Straw Hat Crew type event. Effect, main, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Supernova type character card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Trigger, activate this card's main effect. Okay, that's interesting. I have wanted to mess around with Supernova type decks all over the place, right? I think there was a black-yellow Supernova deck I wanted to mess around with for Luffy, because I think he is a Supernova leader, the black-yellow ST13 Luffy. But I didn't want to run it because the only searcher we had, or I think one of the only searchers we have for Supernova in yellow is the 1 cost Luffy character. Well, now I can't search up my Luffy Straw Hat cards, or my, excuse me, well, any Luffy cards, right? But my Luffy Supernova cards. So it's like, man, that's kind of unfortunate. But with a card like this, maybe we'll be able to get around that. Either way, it's nice to have more searchability within types like this. I think this card is solid, but not a whole lot to talk about here. Okay, next up we have Gum Gum Dawn Stamp. This is a 5-cost yellow egghead 4 Emperor Straw Hat Crew type card or type event. With the effect main, you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a base cost of 6 or less. And then trigger, draw 1 card. So I kind of went off on a tangent when this card was first revealed, guys, and I was very upset. Not literally, but I was disappointed. I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed, right? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Guys, this is a 5-cost card that makes you turn the top card of your life face up. So first of all, you can't even play the card if you don't have any life. And second of all, you can't play the card if your top life card's face up already. And then for all of that, for paying 5 and messing with my top life card, I can only KO up to one of my opponent's characters with a base cost of 6 or less. Trigger, draw a card, that's fine. I don't have much to say about that. That's whatever. But, man, that effect, I feel like that is outrageously underpowered. I get it that it goes off of base cost, but let's not forget that there are other colors in this game that have similar cost effects with way more powerful abilities, right? I mean, even within... guys, even, you know, like, blue, of course, has Red Rock. Everyone expects me to say that, right? Like, yeah, okay, let's just get that over with. Blue has Red Rock. Conditionless, pay 6, bottom deck a character. And the trigger bottom deck's a 4 or less, I think. Incredible. This card is 1 Dawn less, and you have to flip the top card of your life face up. Again, understand, if you don't have any life cards, you can't even do the effect. That is part of the condition of this card, guys, or that is part of the activation cost. You pay 5, and then you may turn 1 card from the top of your life cards face up, and that's where the colon is, right? So everything before that you have to satisfy if you want to proceed with the effect. But guys, KOing a 6 or less for 5 seems a little off to me. Guys, for 8 Dawn, I can, so for literally 3 more Dawn, I can play out an 8-cost Katakuri, that's an 8,000 power character, and puts a card into the opponent's life, an 8-cost character into life. And that comes with an 8,000 power body, guys. I'm sorry, I just, so this card made me very sad, like I said, or it made me, it disappointed me a little bit. It is what it is. I don't think the card's terrible for something like Sealed. I think for Sealed, this will be a very solid removal card. It goes off base cost, that's fine. But the fact that it goes off of base cost means I can't even combo it like a black or yellow deck or something like that in the future. I don't know. Very limited design here, and I think it is insanely overcosted with that condition. Not a huge fan of this card. Okay, either way, good stuff here. Let's keep going. I think that might be it. Yep, that's it. Now we're going to go over some secret rares, guys. Check this out. We got Monkey D. Luffy. This is the... I don't think we went over these yet, guys. Yeah, because the secret rares are all at the end, and there's 3 different kinds of them. Check this out. We're going to read what it does as well, but give me just a second. Check it out. So there's the... maybe we did go over these, guys. I can't remember. Where's the actual original one? I don't see it. Maybe we went over it in yesterday's video. I'm trying to think. Whatever the case is, this is Monkey D. Luffy, 6-cost, 7,000 power character here with Fishman Island, Supernova, and Straw Hat Crew type. Has double attack, and then on play, if your leader is multicolored, set up to 4 of your Dawn cards as active. Then you cannot play character cards with a base cost of 5 or more during this turn. I don't think we've gone over these yet, guys. I'm sorry. We have to blast through this real quick. I have to see something. Maybe they're just at the very end of the set. Yeah, they are. They are. Okay, we're going to do it in this way first, guys, because here's the beginning. We're going to go over these secret cards first here, and then we're going to go back and look at the SPs. My apologies for the confusion. So this is the Luffy we were just looking at, the standard secret rarity of it. It is a 6-cost, 7,000 power character with Fishman Island, Supernova, Straw Hat Crew. The effect is double attack, and on play, if your leader is multicolored, set up to 4 of your Dawn cards as active. Then you cannot play character cards with a base cost of 5 or more during this turn. This is just a generically solid card here, guys. Now, the on-play effect will only work if your leader's multicolored, so it is locked in that way to multicolored leaders only. But if you play this in any other deck, it still has double attack. Even if it's not a multicolored leader, just the on-play effect is locked to multicolored. But that effect, that on-play effect, makes it worth playing, guys. 6-cost 7k with double attack, and then stand 4 Dawn is active. It's like a 2-cost 7,000 power character. Guys, seems really, really good. Big fan of this card. I don't think the double attack is anything crazy. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm not really... double attack is nothing to, how do I say this? It's not that it's a bad effect. It's just, it's not as crazy as people think. I think a lot of times people think like, yeah, but you're doing double the damage, but that means they're drawing double the cards, right? Because remember, in the game of One Piece, that is a catch-up mechanic. And in the game of One Piece, double attack cannot go through your last life to KO you. It's not like if you have one life left and then they double attack, you lose the game if you take it. No, it actually just takes your one last life card. So double attack only even applies in the early game. And during the early game, you're going to want to be developing your board. You're not going to have as much to attack with and stuff like that. So it's just one of those situations where it's just kind of weird, right? It is what it is. But overall, this secret rare, incredibly powerful. It is going to get its most value. It's going to get the most value in multicolored decks, but it is just a good card in general. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next up we have Ace, Portgoss the Ace. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power blue Whitebeard Pirates type character. With the effect, if you have 3 or less life cards, this character gains Rush. Okay, and then on play, give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader. Then you may return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less to the owner's hand. And if you do, your opponent plays up to 1 character card with a cost of 4 or less from their hand. Okay, not bad, right? Not terrible. You're bouncing a 5 or less back to your opponent's hand, and they get to play out a 4 or less. So the problem with this card in general for me is if they don't have a 5 or less on the board, you don't really get to do anything, right? I mean, you get to, because think of it like this, like, yeah, but you can still bounce a 4 cost, a 3 cost, a 2 cost, a 1 cost, yeah, but then they get to replay it. So any powerful on-play effects they were trying to play in the early game, if you bounce back the card to their hand, they're just going to replay it. And think of it like this, guys. If you try to bounce back a 1 or less, guys, they can pull out a 4 or less in the place of it. I just don't think it's the right thing to do. Now, I think the effect is fine, especially if you combo it with something from black. If you have cost reduction built in, then the effect could be absolutely crazy, right? But in general, I think it is kind of unfortunate the way they decided to design this card, because you're bouncing back their card that probably had a really powerful on-play effect, and then they're going to play out a card with another really powerful on-play effect, generally speaking. Now, you know, who knows? We'll have to see what happens in the future. Like I said, if you combo this with a deck that's running black, then the card could just be insane, and you could just choose to not bounce anything, right? It says then you may return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 less to the owner's hand. You know, you could just not, right? And then you still get to attach 1 Rested Dawn to your leader, and it's a 7,000 power attacking character. Let me see. Give up to 1 Rested Dawn card. You got to your leader. It cannot be characters or leaders, just your leader. But either way, 6 cost, 7k with Rush. It is conditional Rush. You have to have 3 or less life cards, but that's going to be easy to pull off, especially in, you know, multicolored decks and stuff like that. So good stuff there. Solid card, I have to say, overall. But I do wish that second part of the effect down there was worded a little bit differently, or maybe a little bit more powerful, or at least brought the card into play rested so I can attack into it and things like that. Either way, solid card. I definitely still want my playset of this. Okay, now last actual new card from OP13, we have Sabo. Of course, it's the 3 brothers, right? So we have 3 secret rares. It's the 3 brothers. We have Luffy, we have Ace, and we have Sabo. Sabo, I actually think, is the best one. It is a 6-cost, 7,000 power, black, Dressrosa Revolutionary Army type character with blocker, okay? And the effect is activate main once per turn. Up to one of your characters gains +2 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn. Then give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader. So right here, the reason I think this one's the best is, excuse me, it basically gets value every single turn from its effect. So think of it like this. Now, they all have like a keyword attached, right? Luffy has double attack, Ace has rush, and Sabo has blocker. And then Luffy has an on-play, so that only happens when you play the card. Ace has an on-play, again, only happens when you play the card, but Sabo has an activate main. So every single turn, you're going to be getting value from this effect, potentially, if you choose to use it correctly. And you're buffing this character to an 8 cost. Technically up to one of your characters gains +2 cost, so you can buff other characters, but you're probably going to want to buff this character and get him to an 8 cost, so it's harder to deal with. It's easier to defend in that way. Excuse me, guys. But then you're going to give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader. So you're generating 1 extra Dawn worth of value every single turn. And since you're giving a Dawn to your leader, I mean, think about it in the case of Red Black Sabo, right? We actually looked at this in yesterday's video, but since we're so close, I'll just scroll to it real quick. Look at this, guys. Attach 1 Dawn to your leader, and you get the effect, and it goes off an 8-cost character. So it's one of those situations where, like, this card, I feel like was built absolutely perfectly for the deck that it was designed around. But at the same time, this is just a generically good card. It's a 6-cost, 7,000 power blocker that gives a free Dawn every single turn. Every turn it's letting you get a free Dawn's worth of value out of it. So when you start stacking these up on the board, all of a sudden you've got a 6,000 power leader, and then a 7,000 power leader, and then an 8,000 power leader, right? It just keeps stacking up. Now, just with attacking, right? That's how Dawn only works on your turn. Excuse me. But still, it doesn't matter. You're getting the extra value, and that's really, really solid. And this is a blocker. It's a 7,000 power blocker. Really good stuff here. Okay, that's it. Now we're finally done with all the new cards. Let's go back and enjoy the SPs real quick. We'll go backwards. Okay, let me recline back, lean back in my chair, and just enjoy the awesome artwork here. Even adjust my camera down, because like I said, guys, I'm reclined back in the chair. I'm enjoying this with y'all. Okay, so we got the 5-cost 7K Smoker. Awesome. This looks really good. Of course, this is the one that has Banish built in, and it's done in that style we've seen in the past, where it's like a blacked out background with the color of whatever the card is enhanced with like the silhouette in the background of the character in the foreground. Really awesome art style. This SP looks incredible, and this card is incredible too, of course. Wow. Okay, look at this. Man, I love that. I like this one, but I really like this purple one here. Monkey D. Luffy. This is the 9-cost 10K that has on play return 1 or more Dawn cards to get rush and draw a card. Really good stuff here. It looks, that purple and gold really does it for me. That looks great. Okay, then we have Goldie Roger on the wanted poster. Dead or alive. That's right, guys. Wanted, dead or alive. That is too cool. And this is a 10-cost, this is the 10-cost 13K Rush one, the secret rare from OP09. That says when your opponent activates blocker, if either you or your opponent has 0 life cards, you win the game. Okay? You love to see that card. Great looking wanted poster card. Probably my favorite of the wanted poster ones. I think this and Blackbeard are. Okay? Next up, we have Ben Beckman. Great card. That red and gold looks really, really nice. Looks really clean. And this was a great choice for them. I mean, all of these are great choices, to be honest, guys. The 5-cost Smoker and the 9-cost Luffy, those are great choices for this style. Next up, we have Shanks. We got like a red and silver, a red, white, silver, and black theme. And I think there's a red, gold, silver, and black theme. They both look red. Hang on. So it's red, white, and black. And then this one's gold, and this one's more silver. And it looks like this one's also colorized, and this one's more black and white. Notice the rose petals at the top there, especially at the very top right. Watch this when we go back. Notice they get that green and pink. And notice his pants, too. The roses on the pants change as well. Looks awesome. Looks really, really good. Okay, black and gold. Those are my colors for those who might not be aware. Hey, if you can't tell by my, my overlay here, black and white, black, white, and gold, man. Those are my absolute favorite little color combinations. This looks incredible. Okay, and this is, of course, the 8-cost 9,000 power Sabo. Very nice. All right, then we have Lilith. This is kind of an overload for me of gold and yellows. I think what makes it work so well with the others is you have this other color, and then gold is like the accenting color. Well, when you have yellow and then gold's the accent for it, it doesn't look as good to me, but it still looks fine. Still a good-looking piece of art here. Okay, then we get blue and gold, a really nice combo here. And now this is interesting. They chose the EB02 Searcher Ace. Not my favorite pick. I think they could have picked something better from blue, but who knows? Maybe this is the best pick at the time. I'm sure there will be other picks in the future that'll be good as well. But 5-cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I know what they were doing. They had to do an Ace, a Sabo, and a Luffy, of course, for this set. That's probably what it was. But I would have even taken the 5-cost, 6,000 power, 1K counter blue Ace. The other blue Ace that has, where you get to do a draw 2 and then place 2 on the top or bottom. But this is the one on play if your leader type includes Whitebeard Pirates. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 character card with a cost of 2 and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order and play up 1 character with a cost of 2 from your hand rested. Really good stuff here. Okay, got the wanted posters for Saba. All right, now we're going to look at the alt arts for all of the three brothers secret rares from this set. So we got wanted Sabo, we got the red manga Sabo, the normal manga Sabo looks the best. Look how good that one looks. The red one looks good too, guys, but look at that one. Incredible. The pose they chose, everything about it. This looks so good. And then we have like the standard alt art for the secret Sabo. Okay, then we get to Ace. Here's the wanted poster, the red manga, The standard manga. I still like the standard manga better, guys. I know the red one's probably going to be more expensive and whatnot, but man, the standard one just looks so good. Standard manga looks incredible. Then we have the alt art, and now we get to Luffy. Wanted, Dead or Alive. There's Luffy. Okay, now this one does look good. I don't know, something about like the red, you know, little thing around the hat there, and then the red shirt goes really well with the background. Oh, but no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Guys, the mangas, the standard style or the standard formatting manga just looks the best to me. But it is still really cool to be able to get your hands on these red mangas. Okay, and there's the standard alt art, and now we're done. All right, guys, that's it. Hang on, we got to leave it on one to end here. I know we're actually about to head over to the outro page, but still, we'll end on this Sabo here. Well, guys, that's it. We made it through. What's this, like a 2-hour video? Let me get the outro on the screen here, guys. Let's wrap this up. Thank you to everybody who made it this far. I really appreciate it. This was a long video today, guys, but we had a lot of cards to go over, especially with all the SPs and all that good stuff. And Emu, there was a lot going on with Purple Roger stuff and Black Emu stuff. There was a whole lot going on we had to really break down and talk about. Well, guys, thank you for supporting me in any way, shape, and form that you do. Whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, using my TCG Player affiliate link, if you're donating through Patreon or PayPal, if you're a Playmat supporter, a YouTube member, a Discord community, whatever you're doing to help me out, guys, I really appreciate it. Thank y'all so much. All right, I'm done. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Until next time, peace.